Let me begin with a question that may be uncomfortable, but necessary. Can harm exist even when there are no visible injuries? A child may appear physically fine, yet be experiencing emotional damage that lasts a lifetime. Child maltreatment is often hidden, misunderstood, and ignored. It does not always look like what people expect. In this lecture, you will understand what child maltreatment really is, the different forms it takes, why it happens, and the long-term consequences it creates. What you learn here will change the way you see behavior, families, and society. Child maltreatment refers to any act, or failure to act, by a parent, caregiver, or responsible adult that results in harm, potential harm, or threat of harm to a child. This includes both actions and neglect. It is important to understand that maltreatment is not always intentional. However, the impact on the child remains serious. Now consider this: can neglect be just as harmful as direct abuse? Child maltreatment is generally categorized into four main types: physical abuse, emotional or psychological abuse, sexual abuse, neglect. Each type affects the child differently, but all can lead to long-term consequences. Understanding these categories helps us identify and respond appropriately. Physical abuse involves the use of physical force that results in injury or harm. Examples include hitting, burning, shaking, and excessive punishment. Example: a child consistently coming to school with unexplained bruises may be experiencing physical abuse. Now consider, at what point does discipline become abuse? Emotional abuse involves behaviors that harm a child's emotional development or sense of self-worth. This includes constant criticism, rejection, threats, and humiliation. Unlike physical abuse, emotional abuse leaves no visible marks. However, its effects can be deeper and longer lasting. Now reflect: how might constant verbal insults affect a child's confidence over time? Sexual abuse involves engaging a child in sexual activity that they cannot understand or consent to. This includes exploitation, exposure to inappropriate content, and coercion. This form of abuse often involves secrecy and manipulation. Now consider, why do you think victims of sexual abuse often remain silent? Neglect occurs when a caregiver fails to provide basic needs. These include food, shelter, medical care, education, and emotional support. Example: a child consistently left alone without supervision or proper care is experiencing neglect. Now think, is neglect always obvious, or can it be subtle? Several factors increase the likelihood of child maltreatment: poverty, substance abuse, family stress, lack of education, and history of abuse. However, it is important to understand, risk factors do not excuse behavior, they only help us understand patterns. Now consider, can child maltreatment occur in financially stable families? Family dynamics and societal norms play a significant role. In some environments, harsh discipline is normalized. Children's voices are ignored. Abuse is hidden. This creates a cycle. Now reflect, how does society influence what is considered acceptable behavior toward children? Child maltreatment often reveals itself through signs. Physical signs: injuries and poor hygiene. Behavioral signs: fearfulness, withdrawal, and aggression. Academic signs: declining performance, lack of concentration. Now ask yourself, would you recognize these signs if you saw them? The effects of maltreatment can be severe. They include emotional trauma, cognitive delays, behavioral issues. A child's development is shaped by their environment. Now consider, what happens when that environment is unsafe? Child maltreatment does not end in childhood. It can lead to I. Mental health disorders. E. Difficulty forming relationships. E. Risk of repeating the cycle. Now this a real-life implication. Many adults struggling with trust or self-worth may have experienced maltreatment earlier in life. Now reflect, can early experiences shape a person's entire future? Addressing child maltreatment requires action. This includes reporting suspected cases, intervention by authorities, providing support. Silence allows harm to continue. Now consider, if you suspected maltreatment, what would you do? Prevention involves education for parents and caregivers, community awareness, support systems, policy enforcement. Preventing maltreatment requires collective responsibility. Now think, who is responsible for protecting children? Society plays a critical role. This includes schools, communities, institutions. Everyone has a role in identifying and preventing harm. Now reflect, can child protection be effective without community involvement? Child maltreatment is not always visible, but its effects are real, deep, and lasting. You now understand its forms, its causes, and its consequences. The question is no longer whether it exists. The question is what you will do when you recognize it. If this lecture has helped you understand this issue more clearly, take a step further. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your colleagues so that more people become aware. Because awareness is the first step, but action is what protects lives.